Julia?
I talked to her this morning. I know she needs I think she said her and Jade messaged you yesterday a couple times. They need
I already did it. It's old. She needs to check her Slack. I gave it right away.
she needs
Jade's working on it.
she needs that. That's all I know she needs. I don't know what else she needs.
No, so it's not about that.
Shannon there?
Yep.
Morning.
Morning. Don't record that part.
It is recording. All right. Well, I don't think anybody outside of Roots RSVP'd. I think Bijou did, but it's fine. He can join or not. I don't care. Let's jump in. So the purpose of today's conversation is to get to know Roots and Oliver a little bit better. For anybody watching later, this is Oliver Kane. He's one of the business partners for Roots Real Estate based out of Roseville, California. And we're going to talk about what Oliver has up his sleeves for 2025. So first, let's talk a little bit about your background, how you got to where you are today. Oliver, what was your journey like going from agent to team leader to business owner, and what sets you apart from most team leaders, business owners in your area?
Yeah. So Roots Real Estate Group, myself, Shannon Maverly, and Greg Pearsall kind of run this together. Couldn't do it without them. And that's really what sets me apart, I think, is I have the right partners that are willing to pour into each other, and we each kind of stay in our lane and build this business together, right? I started my journey in real estate kind of untraditionally. I was a W-2 employee for a very, very long time. Lucky enough to start investing in real estate at about 21.
Wait, was the W-2 employee in real estate or something unrelated?
Unrelated. I was a deputy. I was a deputy coroner. Most people don't like to hear about that part of the job, right? So as a coroner, I retired out as the deputy coroner of Sacramento County. Lucky enough though to purchase my first home at 21 with my wife, and from there we kind of built our portfolio up. So we've done some fix and flipses, we've done some buy and holds. We've kind of perfected the Burr method, anything and everything to kind of grab some homes and really build up that portfolio is what we worked on while we were still working. At that point, doing all the work on our own, we didn't have the crews, we'd go do our 40 hours a week and come home and do that work. Lucky enough to build up a pretty good portfolio that allowed me to retire just about around the age of 35. And decided it was time to kind of dive in and maybe share what we learned with other people. Joined a couple real estate teams. I think that's what really gave me the passion to want to build my own, not knowing it. But I literally joined real estate as a hobby. I found a good team that had a good name and said, I'm going to do 4 or 5 deals a year. But I realized they weren't doing them how I wanted to do them, right? They weren't putting the customers first. They didn't really care about how we were affecting the families. Like it was all about the transactions. It just didn't work for me. So jumped to another team, hoping for something different. Didn't find it, but at that team, I was lucky enough to find Shannon Maverly, my partner. I'm hoping maybe we get Greg and Shannon on a few calls later, so you meet them as well. But found Shannon Maverly and kind of approached her and said, "Look, like this ain't working for me. I'm going back to real estate as a hobby. I'm gonna do 4 or 5 deals a year, and we're gonna kind of just hunker down and enjoy the time off." And Shannon and I hashed a plan to like, well, why don't we just build the right team? Why don't we do things right? And that started about 3 years ago, and here we are.
That's amazing. So you said that each of you have your own swim lanes. What's yours, what's Shannon's, and what's Greg's?
Yeah, so Shannon's our director of operations, anything and everything systems, right? Like she's a system master. We have a great CRM called Brevity that you can kind of customize and build your own. Shannon is really good at kind of building some auto plans, building some touches that kind of gets out to everybody. Greg is more in that kind of director of sales role. Greg is still really focused on growing his personal production right now, which is great because it helps us kind of stay afloat on these years that we've had, right? It's been 2 bad years in real estate. So Greg's production has really supported us. And then I'm here for kind of big vision and growth, right? So I'm out doing things like this and meeting cool people like Jessica, getting out to all the conferences, getting out and kind of trying to build our brand up, in addition to recruiting and then still doing some production myself as well.
You guys have 12 agents in Roseville now?
In the Roseville area, we have 12. We do service kind of all of California. We've had some ups and downs, right? We had a good sized team in the Los Angeles area that about 8 months ago we decided we need to shut down because they just
Mm,
weren't falling into line with the systems, right? And it was becoming more and more work for us
got it.
because they wanted to kind of go rogue and go up on their own, and they weren't really doing the production. It was what value are we adding to you if you're not going to pour into the systems, right? So we shut that
Yeah.
down, but we're actively rebuilding there. So we have one in the Los Angeles area now. And then we
Nice.
just launched a new team in Florida. So we've been up and running in Florida for only 2 months. She closed 10 transactions in her first month. She has 8 pending for month two. So I mean, it
That's
shows.
crazy.
She's
Amazing.
pouring into the systems, right? She's pouring into the systems, and it is just taken off for her.
So most of the real estate market has been down the last couple of years, but it sounds like Roots is thriving. So what's your guys' secret sauce to thriving through all this?
Yeah, I mean, 2 worst years in real estate, right? And kind of in our career, right? The numbers are out and ours released. Last year was the worst year since 1995. The year before that, worst year since 1998. 2 bad years in real estate.
Wow.
However, we have grown year over year. Just looking at my numbers before I jumped on the call with you. So last year we did, sorry, 2 years ago, because we're in 2025 now. So
Yeah, we are.
2023, we did about $840,000 in GCI. We ended the
Dang.
year in 2024 with 1.3 million, right? So not only are we doing well, like we are, growing in leaps and bounds. We're pouring in. We're doing the activities. We're not doing anything special. We're doing everything that we all know we should be doing. We're door knocking. We're phone calling. We're circle calling. We're
Mhm.
prospecting. We're doing the activities, but we're doing them 10x, right? You can't do what you used to do anymore.
I saw on social media you guys have a bunch of events coming up this year. Do events play a big role in your guys' community and driving awareness of Roots?
Events are great, right? One, it shows that you're giving back to your community and you're just part of the community. A lot of our events, we're not out there asking for business. We're just putting our face out there and just
Yeah.
being present in the community, which I think goes a long way. Because a lot of people, like we were door knocking just recently and we handed someone a flyer and like, oh, you're a real estate group. Never mind. No, thank you. We're like, no, no, like it's just Santa Claus. It's just
No obligations. Just come get our free stuff.
phones ringing. I want to make sure you can hear me, right? So like
Yeah.
really just being genuine about it. But those are huge. I mean, last year in our database alone, we probably added around 15 to 2,000 people from events.
It's amazing. So all
Shannon
the
put together.
systems that
Sorry, Shannon
all
put together a great event. I just won one of my favorites. We did a harvest festival. 800 people alone came from that event.
holy smokes. That's crazy. That's awesome. So all of the systems, the campaigns that Shannon creates and manages in Brivity, all of your agents get access to that?
Everybody has access to everything, right? We're
Nice.
here to train business owners. Like we're not training order takers. We're not training people like here's your lead, go open a door. Like we want to make business owners. We want them to understand how to run their business, how to run the auto plans, how to do the activities so that if they needed to start their own career, like they could go. They can go and take off and it wouldn't even slow down. The other cool thing about RCR and Brivity, if someone was to move on, we could actually pass all the auto plans to them, right? So anything we
Oh,
make in Brivity is shareable across kind of our network. So not only are we building stuff, but we have some network teams kind of across the country that we share our systems back and forth.
and I assume this has been a really good attraction for agents to want to work with Roots since you're setting them up for success. What else do you guys do that makes agents not just want to work with you, but want to stay working with Roots, be part of the Roots team?
Family. We treat them like family, man. Something's been very important to me and Shannon since the beginning that people coming in here are part of our family. They're not just an agent. They're highly involved in the everyday social life that we have. We do events that are just for our team to keep them going. We do dinners together. We do activities together. I mean, we're truly building a community. And then we lift each other up and support each other. There's times where we do deals together. If someone needs that extra support, we pass leads to each other if someone can't make it. We're actually here to support each other. I've been on many teams in the past where like, hey, I need this door open. And like, oh, I'll do it for $50. Like we don't do that here, right? We're here to support each other and lift each other up, and you get the reciprocation back on your next deal.
That's awesome. How do you teach somebody to be a business owner, not an order taker? Like, what does that mean?
Starts with mindset, right? Like you got to shift their mindset. Like you're not just here to close a deal, right? You're here to do the activity. So in my mind, right, we're training them to do the activities and to celebrate the little wins, because activity is what makes you a business owner, right? That's what sets me apart from another agent, right? An agent is all about that closing, and those closings
Mhm.
are important, right? But it's not everything, right? Just coming in and picking up the phone and making 10 calls is important. Responding to the people you say you're going to respond to is important. Getting those emails out, doing that, right? We teach them the activities that need to be done to get to those closings, not just give them a closing. And I think a lot of teams out there, and I think that's what people want maybe too, right? They just want to lead and they want to go close a deal, right? But if you do that, like that's where you're always going to be. You're just going to be an order taker. Just here's your lead, go close your deal, and you're going to live in that limbo forever. Where us here, you know how to make the calls, you know what to say when you're on the phone. Training is just off the chart, right? I mean, anything and everything you want, we will offer you. We talk about mortgages, we talk about sphere of influence calls, we talk about door knocking. I mean, we have so many classes that are live on our interweb that our people can take anytime they want. So we teach them how to run the business and how to do the activities, not just how to close the deal.
I feel like closing the deal is easier said than done. You got to know how to get to there.
Yeah,
So
you have
many
to
things
get
can
there,
go
right? Closing the
wrong
deal is
between.
easy. You
Yeah.
hire, yeah, you hire someone to do all the paperwork for you, and that's it. I mean, the closing of the deal is the easy part, right? It's getting the deal that's hard.
Yeah. So you've talked about Brivity, you talked about your intranet. What technology or what AI do you think is really important for real estate right now? What's been a benefit to you, Roots?
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think AI is going to replace realtors, right? I mean, Zillow's been trying for years with this estimate, right? It's not going to change the world. It's going to give us a starting point. I think AI right now is incredibly powerful in building your social media brand, right? There's so many real estate agents that I know that waste hours like coming up with content, editing content, posting that content. There's so many AI programs out there now that'll write your scripts for you, do that editing and do all that work for you, and you can get back to work doing what really matters. Because social media is important to build your brand and get out there, but you got to pick up the phone, you got to talk to these people, you need that face to face. So I think that's where AI is going to make the biggest impact. You see those AIs that could do pricing of your homes and do things like that. And I just don't think that's replaceable, right? There's so many nuances in the market that it's still going to take that person's touch. But I mean, getting your brand out there is where I really see AI taking hold.
No, social media is a really big focus for you for 2025. How does AI help with social media?
Social media has been our commitment. Actually, right after this call, I'm jumping on a call with our marketing manager to kind of totally rebrand our social media page, right? Getting in trend with some of the people that are doing it well. Like we literally went out there and found like 4 or 5 pages that are identical in looks, but they're people that have 200,000 plus looks, and you look like they're freaking identical, right? So kind of rebranding that.
Want to
So
emulate
yeah,
to be like those top performing sites, pages?
correct, right? So for AI for that, like, right, we're writing scripts and not even like writing scripts, but just like, hey, give me the top 5 places to go in Roseville, California, right? Like,
Mhm.
it's just so easy. I mean, because we can come up with our things that we love and that we think are the best, but let that do that work for you, right? Or what's the best park in Roseville? Or what's the best restaurants in Roseville? Give me a review for this, right? Like, it instantly gives a review. But for me, on top of that, too, like, I kind of put my script into AI that I just did. I'm like, hey, can you please make me a social media post? Include a call to action and include hashtags. Because I know for
Mhm.
me, like coming up with hashtags is my nemesis. Like I freaking hate it. I hate typing it all in one word because I spell them all wrong because I can't read them, right? So
Yep,
the hashtags has been a game changer for me because I've never used them until AI.
for sure. For those who aren't familiar with ChatGPT or AI tools, even Radius Office has its own AI built in where you can ask it to make content for social media posts, what hashtags to use. So that's pretty cool.
The Radius one
Um,
is neat too because you can ask it, hey, what contract do I need, right? Like, so we've asked her a couple times, like, hey, what do I need for this scenario? What do I need for this? So AI and Radius has been great for us too.
Thank you. Thank you. So you mentioned that commitment is really important for 2025. Another word that we had previously talked about was growth. So what does growth mean for Roots for 2025?
Yeah, so I think growth is kind of like what we talked about earlier. Like, I want to redefine what we call success and growth, right? Like, I want to celebrate the little wins, right? Like, everything you do that you didn't do yesterday is growth, right? If you made 10 calls
Mhm.
yesterday, made 11 today, that's growth, right? And let's continue to build off of that. We have a big goal. I mean, we want to close 250 homes in our local market
That's
next year, right?
awesome.
And that is our goal, right? And to get there, we're going to have to grow every day. So
Yeah.
really redefining what we call success and growth is what I'm focusing on to make sure we're celebrating those little wins. Because if we celebrate those wins, we're going to do better, right? Just 1% better than yesterday is all we got to be.
We were talking about how the training you do for your team is really important. Like, how do you get from lead to close? It sounds like with growth, it's similar. It's not just how many deals are we closing, it's what activities do I have to do every day to get to that. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, someone shared with me about a year ago a football analogy, right? And that everybody thinks the point of football is scoring a touchdown. But really, the point of football is getting 2.5 yards. Because if you get 2.5 yards every time and you get 4 downs, you're going to score a touchdown, right? So
Mm.
taking those big long shots of 50 yards downfield don't matter as much as just 2.5 yards. The little things is what makes you get to that finish line. If you go 2.5 yards every get play, you're going to burn out the clock and you're going to score more points than your opponent, right? So 2.5 yards is all you need. Baby steps.
Sounds like if I were either a newer agent or an agent that was kind of stuck and I wanted to reinvigorate my business, Roots would be a great place to go to learn, to grow myself, to grow as a business owner. How do agents find out about Roots? Are you guys like calling agents in your area, or like how do you recruit?
That's been Shannon's commitment, right? Is to getting out there and calling agents and checking in on them. We get really kind of involved in those transactions and checking with those agents
Mm.
that we love and trust. Like, hey man, it was a really good experience. Can I buy you coffee? But quite honestly, I think the best way to do it for any team out there is be the economist of choice. Like, become that expert in your field, and the people are going to come, right? If you can put on classes, if you can, so we do a mastermind, right? We do a buyers and brews where we teach people about the market. We do what we call the wine and wealth, where for that we don't even teach about real estate typically. Like last year I had my tax advisor come, I had a money manager come, I did have a 1031 exchange gentleman come,
Mm.
right? But we're really just teaching about, hey, your wealth is important to me, right? Like I would love for you to buy a home, but if I can just help you in retirement, and it's neat. Like I had someone call me the other day who wanted me to help him plan for retirement. Like he didn't want to buy a house. Like he just like, hey, Oliver, like I saw your video the other day. Like, can I sit down with you and plan for retirement? And we did. Like we sat down and we went over his deferred comp plans and we went over what his pension was going to be. Um, and it wasn't about buying a house, but after we're all done, he's all, what? So I'm going to have that much? Like, well, can we talk about maybe buying a house and how I can benefit from those tax savings, right? So when you show people that you care about them outside of
Mm.
real estate, when you show them that you're the expert or the economist of choice, I think you attract those people.
Yeah, for sure. Why do most team leaders fail at building a team?
I think not everybody's meant to be a team leader, right? And that doesn't mean they're not meant in forever, but maybe they're not meant to be a team leader right now. Some people just like, they do a year or two in real estate and like, I can do this. I want to run my own team. And they jump in a little bit too early. I think when you jump in too early, you make some bad choices, right? You hire your friends, you hire your wife. How many people do we know like is working with the husband spouse team? Like, and that's great, right? But maybe that's not the best fit, and maybe you hired them for different reasons, right? Like it's about preparing yourself, training, learning, finding those mentors, right? Like I've had some really cool mentors in my life before, and I still have people who are far superior to me who are my mentors today, right? And I meet with them. I try to do once a week, at least a phone call, a text, something, right?
That's
But
awesome.
surrounding yourself with the people that you want to become is incredibly
Mhm.
important. And then taking that leap when it's time to take it, not just because you want to take it.
Got it. What what would somebody who's interested in becoming a team leader, like how would they decide whether to focus on building out a team, recruiting like the business side of things versus doing their own production, like
I
their
guess the
own
fine
deals?
Yeah, no, it's a fine line. That's where I think a lot of team leaders struggle, right? Is, oh, if I recruit someone, then my production goes down. My production is down. I don't have enough money to buy the tools they need, and there's this
Mhm.
limbo.
Yeah.
That's where I tell you partner with people that you know, love, and trust. Like Greg and Shannon have been instrumental in that. That we can kind of recruit, we can do production, we can do big world vision growth
Yeah,
because we have someone kind of supporting in the background, right?
for
So
sure.
partnering with the right people, like it's not easy to do on your own. And all these people out there that say they run their team on their own are lying to you, right? They have people in the background, they have a support staff. There's someone who might be that face of it, but they have the support staff. I think where we're different is I lift my people up, right? My partners are instrumental in what we've done. So for me, like I don't think you can focus on both. I think there comes a time when you have to realize that you have an hourly rate, and your hourly rate is at a far more higher rate over here recruiting than it is closing a deal, right? If I can close 24 deals in a year, that is awesome for my personal production. If I can recruit 24 agents who do even just 2 deals each, I've already doubled my production over here, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, there comes a time where you have to really sit down and be honest about your hourly rate and what's more important and what's going to grow that business. And there's going to be down years. So our first year together, Shannon, Greg, and I, we did well. We broke even. I think we made $4,000 like profit, but we didn't kill it, right? But we built a foundation that totally changed in year 2, year 3, year 4. We're growing like crazy because we took the time to build a foundation and we struggled for a year, right? It didn't.
Mhm.
It wasn't a big struggle.
You said your goal for this year is 250 homes.
Yep.
How many did you do in 2024?
So we're 250 homes in our local Roseville market. We would love to do more kind of in our other locations we're at. We did 109 last year.
So a little more than double.
Yep.
And are you going to add agents to the team? Or are you going to change activities? How are you going to hit that goal?
So goals to add agents to the team. Really committing to our activities this year. So we kind of talked about commitment, like committing to them, like to getting better every day at those phone calls and our activities and doing that. And then just hoping for a better market, right? I mean, hoping that maybe we see a little bit of correction in interest rates. So hoping that the market changes a little bit, which I'm hopeful it will. I don't think we're